I'm Chris Wade from the Great Apes Survival Partnership, and I'm here with Satya Triphati, the Senior Distinguished Fellow on Natural Resource Governance from the World Agroforestry Center. Satya, welcome.
Thank you.
We're here at the United Nations Environment Assembly, where we've just had a media roundtable on the publication State of the Apes 2, Industrial Agriculture and Ape Conservation. What are the most significant findings of this publication?
Well, the publication has many findings, but the one that I found most striking is that it's a positive study. It does not find fault with people or institutions or arrangements as they exist, but rather understands their interrelationships and highlights them. Take the case of agriculture. It does not deny that the importance agriculture plays in our daily lives, accepts it, and of course highlights the issues that we must grapple with to make it work both for humans and the apes.
Okay, thank you. What are some of the key issues surrounding industrial scale agriculture when it comes to ape conservation specifically?
Well, industrial scale agriculture does not discriminate, and I think that's where the problem lies. It sees the landscape as 1,000 hectares, 5,000 hectares, 100,000 hectares, and nothing in between. And everything must be cleared to make way for whatever kind of monoculture that you plan to put in place. And then that makes sure that there is no place for anyone else. Whereas smallholder agriculture, and if I may use some recent statistics, there are about 1 billion smallholders across the world. And as my friend Pavan Sukhdev, the UNEP Goodwill Ambassador, was speaking at an event yesterday, there is no way that you can find alternative vocation for 1 billion people that are working in the grounds, And smallholders focus on the farm at the grassroots level. What do I mean by that? In many places you see there are many trees standing in between small 1 acre, 1 hectare farms, because most of the times these trees are the markers between whose land it is and whose land is the neighboring plot is. And that also aids conservation in very many ways, the water table and everything else. And if we focus on smallholders are not by nature against other species, because they understand in their own humble ways working with nature works better for them rather than working against nature. So if we are really looking at making sure that the survival of great apes and the gibbons is a priority across the different landscapes they inhabit, it is extremely important that we focus on smallholder agriculture. And there's another thing that I would like to highlight is that many people present a false binary that you need to feed a lot of people, so you need more land. I don't think we need more land to feed more people.
There's not more land.
There is no more land,
right.
So it's a false binary. You don't have land, and so what you need to do is to understand the nuances of changing cultivation patterns, cultural strengths and weaknesses, focusing on them, and getting resources to smallholders where they need it the most, because that's where it's not that smallholders don't want to improve, because that's often the argument put forward, though the productivity is very low. But the productivity is very low because they don't have the resources. But the resources have all flown into industrial agriculture because it's convenient,
right.
It doesn't make us do much, you get a bunch of machines and you go on.
Quick and easy.
Quick and easy.
So traditionally the banking sector has seen smallholder agriculture as a financial risk. So how does one go about drumming up support and gaining finance for smallholder agriculture?
I think the year 2015 was cited by many as a generational shift in our priorities. If you take the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, if you take the Paris Agreement, the World Humanitarian Summit in Japan, and all of these come together, and all of those need resources. The thinking that there's a large pot of money waiting somewhere that can be distributed across the world and to make everything right is a pipe dream. As desirable as it might be for some people, it's a pipe dream. It's not going to happen. So what can happen is to create these virtuous partnerships where you can drive private sector finance to do public good. And what do I mean by that? I'm not suggesting that private sector should donate all their assets to charity. That's not the point. The point is that in everything that, whether, let's take the case of smallholders. A smallholder in Indonesia, let's say in the oil palm sector, produces on an average 1.9 tons per hectare of oil palm, whereas large holders produce anywhere between 6 to 10 tons per hectare. So if the smallholder could have the resources to get the best seeds, to get the best nutrition for the plants, to get the best organic farming methods, they can start producing twice as much more. Then that's where you have resources at the grassroots, and as has been proven by many studies, getting more money at the hands of the rich does not solve anybody's problem, because they already have what they need in terms of basic needs. So more money basically means it goes into a bank and sits somewhere, invariably. But money in the hands of a poor person actually goes to education, healthcare, the children growing up smarter, their nutrition taken care of, and the world becoming a better place. And that would aid and abet conservation of not just the apes and the gibbons, but all species. Thank you.
Thank you. As we conclude this interview, maybe you can just also share with us a little bit of information about palm oil and the oil palm, and how that relates to ape conservation.
Well, I think if you look at the case of Indonesia, and I think there are lessons for Africa from there. Indonesia is the largest producer of palm oil in the world, and much of the landscape that you see a lot of videos in YouTube and elsewhere where you see a very scarred landscape, completely devoid of any forests and monoculture oil palm. Species like apes and gibbons don't live in them. You might occasionally find somebody who's lost their way in a palm oil, and sometimes that is cited as example. Even great apes live in oil palm plantations. No, they don't. They just have lost their way and they wandered into something else. And actually, one of the things that the study brings out very succinctly is that wherever the great ape population has reduced, whether it's Sumatra or Kalimantan or what we popularly know as Borneo, the numbers in the rescue centers goes up exponentially. So it's basically the loss of habitat that is driving these species into human habitations, and of course there is the human-animal conflict, and then they ultimately end up in rescue centers. I think oil palm has a big role to play, but while acknowledging the problem, I think corporations that profit greatly from oil palm should also look at it from a human perspective, and with a corporate conscience, because I don't think there is any conflict between being a capitalist and being an environmentalist as well. You both can actually cohabit in a way that we can conserve nature while generating the resources that we need to, and that's what we popularly call as a green economy transition.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.